I popped my balloon. I was waiting because I was trying to feel the energy, the vibe, the connection, chemistry. And I believe he was speaking very well, very suave, handsome gentleman. So I was trying to give it some time. But then it started to feel like an attack. And I didn't like or agree with the attack. So that was why I popped my balloon.
Okay. So you say it felt like an attack. Can you elaborate on that?
You don't judge people from their past, or you like to start off with a clean slate. You don't judge people from their past, or you like to start off with a clean slate.
That the psychology of people flows from the history and experience of that people, just as the psychology of the individual flows from his or her unique history and experience. So if you're to understand the psychology of ourselves as a people, and to understand our children, then we must understand the history and experience that has generated that psychology.
I don't think that if a relationship works out for a woman and it happens to be her second baby daddy, per se, I don't think that's her fault. So if she decides to stay and marry the man, like Brian says, then that means she's settling. And I don't agree with a woman having to settle just because the opinions of others thinking that, it's going to be her fault. It's her fault because it didn't work out.
It's actually, I find it, well, I don't find it nothing, but think about it. Being 41 years old and you have the philosophy that you should not judge people based on a past. Ma'am, past performance predict future performance. Your credit score. You are judged on your credit score. And all credit scores is your past. You are judged or your criminal record. So, if you don't want to judge people on their past, will you find it okay to have a pedophile working around kids, even though they served their time? But on your logic, would it be okay to have a pedophile with an extensive criminal record work around kids? So in fact, you should judge people on their past, because that tells you where they at. If a person makes a lot of mistakes and keep on making a lot of mistakes, most likely in the future, they're going to make a lot of mistakes too. If a criminal was a criminal all his life, then didn't change, didn't do that, most likely in the future, there will be criminals too. So I just find it that a person that's halfway to 80 years old saying, do not judge me on my past. Well, you ain't gonna never find a husband. Never. Because a good husband will look at your past to try to predict the future. Here's another thing. I would not date a person who is on chronic welfare. I may consider a person who is on acute welfare. It's a difference. Acute is temporary, short. Chronic is long, very long. And most likely your mama was on it and her mama was on it. And guess what? You on it. You saw how those past cycles of welfare ended up in you? That's how it works, man. History matters because history is always present. We respond or react based on our past experience. We respond and react in the present based on our past experience. A cop pulls you over, you started to sweat. Past experience. You see a snake on the ground, you jump back. Past experience. You know the boy around the corner whooped your tail 5 times. You gonna fire him again? No. Past experience. So your past actually does matter. It does. And it matters in the present. That's all it is.